no, not the famous singer of Let's Stay Together, has mounted a campaign to impeach the president just 2 weeks into his term. Listen.
I rise to announce that the movement to impeach the president has begun. I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done. I also rise to say that the impeachment movement is going to be a grass-up movement, not a top-down. The people have got to move forward. The people have to demand it. And when the people demand it, it will be done. I did it before. I laid the foundation for impeachment, and it was done.
Here to weigh in on this recent development and other relevant news is longtime advisor to President Trump and our good friend, Bruce Lavelle. Bruce, thank you for being with us again.
Yeah, thanks, Beau. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, Bruce, it seems that there's not a lot of love and happiness going on with Representative, not Reverend, Al Green. So, Bruce, what is going on here?
Well, listen, I lived in Texas. You would think the district near Missouri City would get tired of Al Green. I noticed that's happening across the country where a lot of the constituents are like, look, enough's enough. You go up there and you're just counterproductive. You react with your noise, but you do nothing for the district. And this is something that I think that this movement is creating, not just accountability in the government, but just overall on how we elect our elected officials and holding, quote, them accountable to take care, yes, the district that they promised to take care of. So listen, this is typical of Al Green. Yes, not the original Al Green from my generation.
That's right.
But this is kind of very typical. And, you know, if you notice, it's not as many as it was. It's kind of starting to diminish. And you saw that with Fetterman weighing in and voting favorably and really talking common sense, and some other Democrats that are out there saying, look, this thing that you guys created, it's not working. And you would think that they would understand, especially what happened during the election and across the country, that they would like wake up. But folks like Al Green can't help themselves.
Well, Bruce, we like Reverend Al Green a whole lot better than Representative Al Green. I think that's for sure everyone can agree on. Well, Bruce, a lot of this week's news has centered around the dissolution of USAID. Elon Musk's Doge wants to dismantle it. Trump wants to dismantle it. Marjorie Taylor Greene has introduced a bill to get rid of it. And Democrats are losing their minds. Here is Senator Josh Hawley talking about why. And I want to get your thoughts on the other side.
They're panicking big time, Laura, because their power base is being threatened. That's what's really going on here. I mean, look at what they're doing over USAID. This is because they've used that as their personal plaything. And that includes billions and billions of taxpayer dollars that have gone, to fund outrageous stuff overseas, like trans-affirming projects in Zimbabwe or whatever. But also, let's not forget, to fund their preferred media outlets like Politico. And who knows what other left-wing rags have been getting money, federal government money, from this agency, and there's been no accountability. So yes, what's happening is Trump is exposing all of this. He is cutting off the liberal supply chains, as it were, and the liberals are just losing their minds. They're totally losing their minds. We need more of it.
So, Bruce, I got to ask you, USAID has been a slush fund for Democrat causes. Now, have Republicans known about this for years, and it just took till now with Trump and Musk to say the buck stops here?
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I'm an old Reagan guy. I go back, that's how far, volunteering for his campaign in high school. But, you know, this makes you wonder, Beau, to your point, who knew about this for many decades? And listen, I said this from day one. When President Trump came down the escalator and he promised to not engage in pay-to-play or special interest, I mean, he meant that. And so it won't be business as usual, but I guess usually historically, some, not all, but I'll just say most, made that promise, you know, they're going to do this, do that, and get right in there and do the same old thing that everybody else is doing, like the club is doing. So this is just the beginning. It's long overdue. I'm a business owner here. I hit 30 years in April. I understand what FICA means. I understand what it means to meet payrolls. I understand what taxes and how it hurts a lot of small businesses and families when there's high taxes, let alone when you watch your precious taxpayers be squandered away, whether it be overseas or these particular slush funds. So we're long overdue. And listen, once again, quote, Beau, this is just the beginning.
Yeah, and I personally, Bruce, didn't know that Politico was being funded by USAID. That's new information, but hey, it's good to know this. That's
well, at least Rav wasn't on the list.
That's true.
Hey, there they are.
That's true. No.
What? Okay.
Well, Bruce, earlier this morning, 30 Democrats attempted to enter the Department of Education building in Washington, D.C. to visit Acting Secretary of Education Denise Carter, as Trump's nominee Linda McMahon is yet to be confirmed. Now, these 30 Democrats were blocked from entering. Bruce, we know that the nation's report card showed that 7 out of 10 fourth graders are not proficient readers, which is actually worse than the previous year's report card. So why are our students performing so poorly, and is that a reflection on a feeble Department of Education?
Well, once again, it's been business as usual. They've had people talk about challenging, even some in Congress, some in Senate, some governors, some former presidents, but they never have seen a president, especially in my lifetime, outside of Reagan, that kept their promises, what they're going to do. And by golly, President Trump is keeping his promise. And listen, there has to be accountability. And I'm excited. It's one of those things as a business guy, you go in there, you try something, and you realize it's not profitable, it's not working, then you try something different. So we know, and once again, real quick, the president looks at the country, yes, he looks at it like a balance sheet, a profit and loss statement. There's a lot of losses in a lot of parts of our government. We want profits. We want profits by meaning less burdensome regulations on the taxpayers, the business people. So what? That creates more income, which moves the economy, which is, yes, discretionary income. The list goes on. So this is long overdue. I'm excited. And there's going to be more and more coming. Like I said, stay tuned. It's uncomfortable. Yes, I get it, because we've always done it this way. Why do we have to change it? And we have to break, I call it, quote, the generational curse of taking the precious taxpayers' money and squandering it. Those days are gone, and putting it back for we the people, by the people. That's what this great nation was designed for, this great Constitution.
It is. And Bruce, when 7 out of 10 elementary school kids are not proficient in reading, something has to change. Something's got to give. Well, Bruce, turning our attention to our border, Tom Homan has ICE looking like a very well-oiled machine, and newly confirmed AG Pam Bondi has wasted absolutely no time taking aim at local lawmakers who may be blocking deportation efforts. Let's take a look.
Not only did we sue today the city of Chicago, we sued the state of Illinois, we sued the mayor, we sued the governor, and we sued others. And let me be very clear, if you don't comply with federal law, you're going to be next.
Now, Bruce, it seems like every single one of Trump's confirmations takes immediate action. And Bondi seems like she means business, and it's got Dems in a tailspin. So my question to you is, do you think that we will eventually start to see more cooperation with Democrat leaders' obstruction of immigration policy, kind of like Trump's art of the deal move with Mexico and Canada?
Well, once again, I hope so. I hope they break that curse of a culture. And listen, if you want to put, once again, taxpayers as well as American citizens in front of people who don't have skin in the game, who come through here illegally, let alone create crime, and you want to stand in the middle of that saying, we're not going to support ICE. You're basically saying we're not going to support law enforcement. That's pretty much what you're saying. So I know Attorney General Bondi, she means what she says. I share another home in Florida. She was a great attorney general there. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, Pam Bondi has another one that she's going to do what she says. And real quick, but I just want to make this very clear. All of the cabinet members are working directly under the commander-in-chief, which is President Trump. They all have mandates. They're a team, and they're all going out there following his what he wants done, his agenda, and everybody's on board. And if people who don't want to be on board or join this great movement, then maybe you should stay home and let someone else do it. Don't get in there if you don't want to be serious about this. So this is a great America movement that's moving before our very eyes.
Yeah, and Bruce, we only got about 20 seconds left, so we got to make this quick. But this shock and awe campaign Trump has put out about taking over Gaza, is it plausible? Can it work?
Oh, well, why not? It's one of those things. Once again, you've tried it this way 40, 50 years. It kind of reminds me real quick, Beau, and Real America Voice viewers. I remember when he flew to Singapore and he called Kim Jong and he said, hey, I want to stop in and holler at you. On an iPad, North Korea has some really beautiful beaches, He says, you should build some condos, or you should develop, it's kind of like, development, beautifying a neighborhood. And that's what developers do. So, hey, I say getting, like you said, the world will be coming there. Getting
Absolutely.
Egypt, Saudi,
Well,
everyone has skin in the game.
Thank you, Bruce, so much. We love your thoughts. Thank you for your wisdom, sir. Reverend Al Green, not Representative Al Green. And we'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
Why is Navage trusted by millions?
Before Navage, I was not living my best life because I could not breathe. Constant nasal congestion, constant blowing of the nose. The huge difference is the fact that Navage pulls it out. It's very gentle in the sense of when that suction happens, it's literally grabbing that water and that mucus and it's bringing it out into this tank. It's worth every penny that you pay for it. This product changed my life.
Available at major retailers or online at Navage.com.
Hello friends, Pat Boone here with a message from the past. Imagine the shock of reading tomorrow's newspaper and discovering the price of gold has doubled to over $1,000 an ounce. Sound impossible? Well, it's not. That's right. Back in 2006, my friends at Swiss America forecast gold prices would top $1,000 an ounce, and they were right. Today, several financial firms are forecasting $3,000 gold. Now, for over 40 years, Swiss America has helped folks like you and me purchase precious metals for home delivery and for our IRAs. So don't miss this opportunity again. Call or text Swiss America at the number on your screen now to receive your free portfolio review and a copy of The Timeless Truth About Gold and Silver. Learn for yourself how easy it is to safeguard your money. Call or text Swiss America today.
It's time to get your dream kitchen at Cabinets to Go.
Right now, save on every single cabinet in your design. Up to $175 off per cabinet. Come in today and get your dream kitchen for just $148 per month.
Cabinets to Go. Wow for less.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
And welcome back to Special Report. More continues to come out about the misuse of USAID funds as Democrats and the deep state continue to take aim at DOGE. These funds were also used for NGOs, which are notorious for facilitating the crisis at the border and ultimately human trafficking. Independent journalist Ann Vandersteel has been uncovering the truth behind the USAID-funded trafficking, and she joins us live now. Ann, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, Beau, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me back. Yeah, this scandal just keeps erupting. It's as if we have now literally pried open Pandora's box, and we haven't just got a little bit of it open. It's starting to explode, and I think it's exponentially releasing so much information. Just on an aside, I just got off a phone call when it talks about the misuse of government funds at the expense of our own. This story that I'm going to be working on is really rather alarming. It's horrific, in fact, and it goes back to World War II with respect to the missing in action or whereabouts unknown, and the fact that we've actually left men behind, and we're trying to cover it up. And frankly, the government has earmarked funds to bring home bodies, but it would seem that maybe perhaps the government had a hand in making sure there was a lot of bodies that were left behind, so that $50 million a year earmark could be leveraged every single year since 1945. We're talking about $3.75 billion that have been spent to bring home bodies of our men and women in service that frankly should never have been left behind. And so this is just another example. And I think what President Trump is talking about with respect to, USAID and just looking at every single agency like the Department of Education and Pentagon is critical. But with the human trafficking, the lies that have come from this government, not this current administration, I'm talking our government prior to, in fact, the last 4 years under the Biden regime, originally they would admit to 85,000 missing children, and then it was 325,000. And now we're starting to learn it's a lot more than that, Beau. And so it's really rather alarming that our government has weaponized the border, weaponized, the ability for cartels around the world and governments around the world, including the intelligence communities around the world, to not only get behind and fund these wars, but to then foment the need for human trafficking. i.e. just displacement through war. And sadly, our government has profited off of it. And frankly, our people are the ones that are actually consuming the need for this human trafficking. And as we're sitting on the eve of Super Bowl weekend, this is yet the weekend where we see the most human trafficking going on. I find it interesting that President Trump will be the very first president to attend a Super Bowl this weekend, because I think he wants to put a flag in the ground about this and really bring it public.
Yeah, and you mentioned the human trafficking connection with USAID. Was there money laundering as well?
Well, my goodness, I don't think USAID was anything but money laundering. I can't think of one program, Beau, where USAID has actually delivered something that was good. I mean, if I'm missing something, I hope somebody will call me and correct me. Just hit me a DM on X at Ann Vandersteel. But I don't see any of the money from USAID that has done anything but actually enrich anybody that had their hand in the till under whatever non-governmental organization, nice sounding name, you name it. They're out there. In fact, there's one company, I think it's called Chemtronics. They've gotten billions of dollars, and I can't find anything they've done to help anybody. So this is really this is quite disturbing, and I think people are becoming numb to it in some aspects, because we've watched the waste, fraud, and abuse of our government for decades, while our national debt has skyrocketed, and yet American infrastructure is crumbling, and children go missing, and we have all of these organizations, they say they're out there to save the children, but you compound that with someone like Jill Biden, and you realize that this organization was, again, yet another sham, like the Clinton Foundation, another sham organization that wasn't even following their own bylaws to file taxes properly and offshore money. We are going to find, I think, not trillions, quadrillions of dollars that have been siphoned out of the American taxpayer system vis-a-vis the Federal Reserve, and putting the sweat equity and the interest on all that on our backs to continue to fund their enrichment of themselves. And at the end of the day, we have to stop and ask ourselves, when does this end? And I think President Trump is signaling when this is going to end with his, rhetoric around ending the IRS, abolishing this organization, as well as looking at the Fed. Because, again, he can't fire the Federal Reserve chairman because they're a private bank, but he can work around them. And I think that was one of the reasons why he moved it under the Treasury in March of 2020, is to really try and take control of this heinous apparatus that has been weaponizing funding and trafficking and war for decades at our expense.
And this is why Doge is so important. It's so critical. We understand now why Elon Musk has such a target on his back, because of this very reason, because they're exposing the waste, fraud, and abuse that's been going on for God, how long? Exactly what you mentioned. And speaking of Doge, a federal judge in D.C. has issued a temporary pause on Doge's access to Treasury documents. This comes amidst the flurry of lawsuits being aimed at Elon Musk. Will any of this hold up, Ann, and will Doge ultimately always prevail here, do you think?
100%, because, well, who does Doge represent, Beau? Doge represents we the people. Us. This is not an organization where people are taking home a paycheck on the backs of the corporate United States of America. These are people who are volunteering their time, and they're going in there and they're doing the work of the people. Let's be clear. The government is supposed to be of, by, and for the people. Our Constitution demands it. We the people, not we the government, not we the World Economic Forum, we the United Nations, we the cabal, we the people. And so we are supposed to be holding our government, the people that we have elected into these roles as public servants, accountable. And since we haven't done our job, Beau, frankly, we have to be honest with ourselves. We have a lot of sin to atone for in terms of the lack of responsibility, the lack of civic duty that we've actually engaged upon. And so now you're starting to see those wheels of what I call real justice, people accountability. I'm part of the Department of Government Accountability. We are bringing that accountability now by showing up and walking into the doors of the Department of Education and walking into the doors of these various institutions. The Pentagon should be, $5.7 trillion has gone, quotes, missing since 2018. They can't account for this. They failed 7 audits. This is just unacceptable, and this is our money. So we can't just complain about it. We've got to do something about it. And that's what I love about Doge, is because it's people doing something about it. And the media is losing their minds. Yeah, and we've only got about 30 seconds with you left, but I want to get your thoughts on this. Multiple media organizations who took hits at Trump over the past 8 years have received funding from USAID. How are they able to quietly take these funds, and what should happen to them? Well, they need to be shut down, and they need to return the money, which I'm sure they're unable to do at this time, because I'm sure the money has been spent elsewhere besides just putting out bad yellow journalism or just fake news and lies. They need to be shut down. It's like PBS. we can't have propaganda put out there. And I hope that President Trump will repeal the 2012 Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, because if he does that, propaganda by the government goes bye-bye forever. And I look forward to the day when all this gets shut down and companies like yourselves at Real America's Voice rise to the top like you are right now, because that is the real news. And you're bringing on real people that are here to represent the people. So I appreciate that.
And we appreciate you, Ann Vandersteel, for all of your investigative journalism and your truth. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you, Beau.
And coming up, News of the Day host comedian Jeff Ahern joins us to break down the daily news with a comedic flair. We'll be right back in just a moment.
They say America doesn't make things like they used to. We'll say that to Linda, or Maurice, or Jeb, or Whitney. At Allegiance Flag Supply, we do things not because they're easy, but because they're right. Every stitch, every stripe, every star. Made by Americans for the America you believe in. Allegiance Flag Supply. Made the American way.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed, because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
It's an absolute problem. It happens all of the time. If you own property and have got equity, you can be a victim.
How can a scammer actually steal my home?
It's so easy for them to get the original document. They can download it and forge it. They begin to take out loans, and you're left holding the bag.
What can I do to protect my title?
Go to HomeTitleLock.com. We monitor your title and alert you if anything disturbs your title. Protect your home. You'll sleep better that night.
Well, it is a new day in America and a new administration in Washington, D.C. There's a lot of excitement and optimism about the future, but the reality is there's also a lot of work to do, especially when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. The truth is that the forces that are responsible for breaking our healthcare system aren't going to simply go away. The challenges our system faces won't disappear overnight. And now, more than ever, you need to be prepared. And that's where the Wellness Company comes in. Their doctors are medical professionals that you can trust, and their line of prescription medical kits when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy. And whether it's the medical emergency kit, the contagion kit, the first aid kit, or the travel kit, these prescription kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of these medications. From the flu to strep throat, from COVID to the bird flu, from a trip to the beach to a trip overseas, the Wellness Company has a prescription kit designed to keep you and your family safe. Make America Healthy Again starts at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. So just go to www.twc.health/voice today and order. One more time, that's twc.health/voice, and use the promo code VOICE to save 10%. Well, welcome back to Special Report on this fabulous Friday. News is not often a laughing matter, except, of course, when it is. And sometimes that comes at the expense of newsmakers who might not be intentionally funny. But we want to wrap up this week with our good friend, Jeff Ahern. Jeff is the host of News O' the Day, in which he breaks down daily news with a signature comedic spin. Because let's face it, some things are just flat out funny. Jeff, we are delighted to welcome you back to Special Report.
Hey, Beau, great to be back. How you doing?
We're doing great, man. We're in West Palm Beach. Trump is in the air. Normally, like I said, we've had several segments where we tried to have you on and Trump was doing something, so we couldn't have you. But, you know, we got to have some comedy this Friday. We just have to. We got to be able to.
you're doing good because Trump is in the air. Not that he's actually physically in the air, but he's just all around.
Well, he is.
Trump is in the air. Da 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 da.
He's in the atmosphere around us as we speak, literally and figuratively. Well, Jeff, we really appreciate you coming back because we had such a fun time before. And while a lot of people tune out the news because it can be boring or cumbersome, there are some funny moments to be found. And so I want to get your thoughts on this. For instance, Bernie Sanders, he did his best job to grill Bobby Kennedy about a onesie his organization once sold. Let's take a look at this.
Now, you're coming before this committee and you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines.
Jeff, as I was watching this, I don't think Bernie knew what a onesie actually was. I think, in fact, he thought it was probably code for going number one in the bathroom. That's my personal opinion. What did you think of Bernie's geriatric theatrics?
Oh, he was so ridiculous. He was a perfect foil for RFK Jr. He's like, listen, I'm going to shake my finger, and if you don't listen to me, I don't take money from Big Pharma, except for the $1.5 million I took from Big Pharma. But let's move on. Let's move on.
That's so true. And just as he was pointing to that picture of the onesie, I thought he really doesn't know what it is. I know that he doesn't know what it is because he's never seen one before in his life. But you're absolutely right. It was a great foil to RFK, and I think RFK knew it was just all theatrics anyway.
He destroyed him. Bernie for me, Bernie and Mittens is great. I love Bernie and Mittens, but Bernie any other way when he's talking, he's like, Bernie, just sell mittens.
Exactly.
Stick to what you're good at.
Of all the moments in the confirmation hearings that you've been seeing so far,
high net worth individuals and people, that were interested. And so people would call the police and they said, well, we can't really do anything about it. And this was before the first Trump presidency. During Trump's first presidency, I then heard that there were a number of prosecutions. So, to Trump's credit, from 2017 to 2021, there were some, efforts to put a stop to it. But then, what I heard is.
Ladies and gentlemen, and all the other genders. Jeff, are you there? I want to get you to weigh in on this. I mean, nothing quite says I express condolences for your loss in the fire like, which genders were actually consumed in the fire?
It's the madness of the left. It's like they can never get away from the DEI. They can never get away from the gender. They can't stop tripping over themselves. Even if it's to help other people. It's like, okay, we'll help people, but only if you're this gender, or more so if you're this gender. It's like when FEMA went around in North Carolina, and if they saw a Trump sign or a USA flag, they said, nah, they'll be all right on their own. It's crazy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was watching that, I was just incredulous, but I thought, of course, they just had to stick it in there. But that's why they lost the election, let's be honest. And Jeff, I want to get your thoughts on this too. Recently, AOC decided to live stream on Instagram, which is already a bad idea if you ask me. But she said this about Elon Musk.
In my experience, I have encountered many billionaires in my career. You all have seen many of those encounters in hearings, in other, forms of questioning, etc. I can tell you that this dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed.
Now,
from that country to do this. And it is a huge national security problem for the U.S. to suddenly have, thousands upon thousands, if not, eventually in the, hundreds of thousands of Chinese nationals who are loyalists to the Chinese Communist Party have citizenship here and be able to vote.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a massive security threat. You know, I want to move on from this because we could really talk about this all day. Hence why we're sticking on it. But, you know, everyone is still celebrating all of the GOP wins, but midterms are going to be here before we know it. And we need to start thinking about those. You moved from California to Nevada, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, the GOP now leads Democrats in Nevada voter rolls. So how do you think that happened, and what are you noticing there in your new home state?
Well, I think that a lot of Californians who are frustrated Republicans like me self-selected out of California. So I think that's just one of the things that has happened, and that's self-evident, right? When
real morals or integrity, they just go with the flow, which for decades has been liberalism in Hollywood. So they don't know what to do.
Do you think the pendulum has shifted then? Do you think that now that when celebrities put that out there, that they're going to get the clap back because sort of conservatives have kind of become mainstream and actually kind of cool?
That's exactly what's happened. I agree with that 100%. And so you're now seeing people in Hollywood who were woke to be in Hollywood and keep working in Hollywood actually go, wait a minute, I don't have to pretend, I don't have to play this game anymore. I can go and have morals and integrity and point out that maybe women and men shouldn't be in sports together, at least if it's supposed to be women's sports, that kind of stuff. And then there's the hardcore leftists, your Rob Reiners, et cetera, who promise to leave and then don't. They're always going to be the same. But the rest of Hollywood is kind of making the shift, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we've seen the shift already. It's happening quickly. Well, Jeff, we've seen a drastic contrast between new Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy and his predecessor Pete Buttigieg. Now, while Duffy is on his game trying to find out why this terrible plane crash happened, I feel like Pete Buttigieg would be investigating whether the FAA had properly celebrated Pride Month and, how the radioactive puddles of East Palestine made a fun rainbow of color. What say you?
Yeah, I would agree. He'd be like, hey, why aren't the ambulances, why don't they have more pride stuff on the sides? And how come everybody's in this blue? Why can't we have something more festive? And why don't I see more trans ambulance workers and people in the Coast Guard doing, everything but what's important, all the periphery, all the nonsense, not looking into why there weren't enough people in the tower, not looking into why 1,000 people were held off of, qualified people were held off of filling those positions simply to fill DEI ones so they can get people who weren't up to the minimum yet, up to the minimum requirements to be a person in a tower. Well, they held off competent people, so they're at 85% instead of 100. Again, you just shake your head. Or Pete would be at home, like, nursing his kid with his plastic boobies.
Well, it's kind of funny how we go from Pete, Mayor Pete being basically a DEI hire to getting rid of DEI altogether. And I think that's a great transition if we're going to play the pun on that word. A really fun moment, Jeff, and I know you probably remember this, of Trump's first term was when he went international, and it was this power move that he did right here. Let's take a look at this. Okay, well, it was. You may remember it. I don't think we have it right now, but it was when he gave that brotherly shove to international leaders overseas. It might have been the G7, G8, I can't remember what it was. And I wonder, when he goes international this time around during this term, whenever that is, I'm sure it'll be soon, what could we see, Trump doing? Do you think he maybe would show Putin some of his TikToks? Will he challenge Kim Jong-un to a classic Squid Game? What do you expect to see from old Trump this time around?
Trump is he's set. Like he doesn't have to run again. He's set. Everything's going. He's just going to be himself. He's just going to be happy, go lucky. He's going to be dancing. He's going to be backslapping. He's going to be high fiving. The whole thing. He'll probably hit Kim Jong-un on the ass if he could reach it. He'll probably hit his head because he's so short.
That's so true. Jeff, we've heard, that Trump has renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Everyone's talking about this. Democrats are up in arms about it. And it kind of made me wonder what other, renamings could be in store. You think that, he's got a knack for renaming things and renaming people. Depending on how things go with Canada and the tariffs, I suppose he could rename Lake Ontario Lake New York or even Lake Trump. What do you think he might do? What's next?
I don't know. He wants Gaza now. He wants to I don't know, have it be like another state for us. I don't know. What are you gonna call Gaza? Trump Town. I don't even know. You got me off guard with this one. Maybe just call it the 51st state until we can come up with a name for it.
Yeah, that's probably true. We talked earlier about Trump's health habits and how he's supposed to be the healthiest guy in the world, and fueled by Diet Coke and McDonald's.
Yeah, Trump. Whatever he's doing, it works for him. And I talk about McDonald's. Like, he goes to McDonald's. McDonald's is his friend. Even RFK Jr. is like, yeah, go ahead, you can have it. I think I'll have some too. But he's sitting in there. That was one of the big moments for his campaign when he was making fun of Kamala for never having worked at McDonald's. And she never did. They had no source data that said she did. Everybody knew it. The media wouldn't cover it. So he goes, you know what? I'm actually going to work at McDonald's. And the one day there will be more than her in her entire life.
Those golden arches, those beautiful golden arches. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for being with us. It was a riot as always. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, brother.
And we'll be right back with Army veteran Dylan Krueger about his new children's book. We'll be right back.
America has the greatest economy in the world, but I think most of us would agree we have a problem. The cost of almost everything is up. Home prices, rent, food, insurance. Every sector has taken a hit, including automotive. More Americans are keeping their cars for longer, including me. And one way that we can make life more affordable is CarShield, America's #1 auto protection company.
CarShield's rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau and named America's most trusted auto protection company.
With CarShield, drivers could save thousands on covered parts and systems like your engine, transmission, entertainment system, and more. It's the protection that I trust, just like these other happy customers.
With CarShield, saving the $2,700 has been a real blessing. I love CarShield. It is my lifeline.
Our life as nurses, we just step up and we help people, and it's really nice when somebody steps up and helped us. If our car breaks down, CarShield administrators have our back.
If your car's out of warranty, it's not a matter of if it'll break down, but when. Call CarShield before it's too late and protect yourself from expensive car repairs.
CarShield is ready to help year-round nationwide with thousands of vetted shops to choose from, or their concierge service to help you find a mechanic near you. Unlike other companies, they don't just send you to the cheapest place in town. I trust CarShield, and so should you.
I have filed a total of over 5 claims, and my price from when I signed up never went up. And with the age of my car, that is security.
CarShield is a U.S. company supporting hardworking Americans save over $1 billion in expensive auto repair costs. More of us are keeping our cars for longer, so give CarShield a call now before a breakdown happens. Call now.
Call CarShield now before a breakdown and see how they're saving drivers money on covered auto repairs. Call 800-635-5126. 800-635-5126.
Back to Special Report. Many may wonder why we stand when we sing the national anthem. Some may think it's a mere act of reverence, but it's so much more than that. It involves our American flag, the battle that took place where Francis Scott Key peered through smoke to see if the American flag still stood.
But the next generation may not have the same reverence and respect that older generations had for the anthem and the flag, which is why we must educate them. Army veteran Dylan Krueger has done that very thing with his kids' book, Why We Stand. Welcome to the show, Dylan. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
And Dylan, I know you've got your son Liam with you as well. I think it's so important what you have done, Dylan, because as a songwriter, I wanted to write a song for the next generation because I could see this lack of patriotism or apathy at best. Clearly, your time serving our country overseas has had a profound impact on you. So tell me about your service and how it led to writing your book.
Yeah, well, thank you again so much for having us on. So I was deployed to Afghanistan in 2011, and my time over there taught me truly how fortunate we are to be Americans, and to never forget the sacrifices the men and women of the United States military make for us and continue to make every single day. It's also incredibly important not just to honor those who have died for our freedoms, but there are a lot of brothers and sisters out there who've come home and they're still struggling with their mental health. So my hope is that my book can help teach young people why we honor the flag and why we respect those who fight for our freedom.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic, Dylan. And I'm sure clearly having 3 boys gave you some even further inspiration to pass down your patriotism to your kids and kids all across America. So how did you teach your boys about patriotism and our national anthem?
Yeah, so I remember becoming a father, and as they were growing up, I'd sit in the room, I'd read books to them, and I used to think, I'd look at the illustrations, and I knew it was something that I could do. And so the question of why we stand was very close to my heart. And when I had seen a lot of what was going on in the news and disrespect that I would see for the national anthem. I knew that that was an important message and something I really needed to teach my kids why it's important to stand and have pride in our country. So that's why I wrote the book, and they're a huge inspiration in that, and it's just been an incredible experience.
Yeah, Dylan, 2 years ago I actually visited Baltimore, and I got to visit Fort McHenry, and I heard it was worth it, and it certainly was. Learning about the Battle of Baltimore and how Francis Scott Key was in a boat offshore as British bombs rained down on the fort, and how the sight of the American flag flying was a sign that America still stood. People don't really know this story, but it is important. What other historical elements of the story do you put in your book that you want kids to know?
Yeah, so that's a big part of it. We talk about Fort McHenry, the Battle of Baltimore. And then we also, part of the book is about the father taking his son throughout the country. And so they see a lot of different national monuments. They see the Statue of Liberty, they see the Washington Memorial and the Lincoln Memorial Washington Monument. And so it's always a really great experience when I read the book to a group of kids and they can point out the different landmarks and they know what they are. So that's really neat, educating them on that side.
Absolutely. Really making a difference there. Now, I do have one quick question for Liam, if he can hear me. Liam, what is your favorite part of the book?
The baby eagle looking around and seeing all the monuments.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I know that the book is actually told through the eyes of a bald eagle who flies across the country teaching his son about the history of the U.S. It doesn't get more patriotic than that. At the Eagles Commanders game last weekend, a bald eagle actually flew over while the anthem was sung. So you certainly have the right imagery with this book. Do you think that kids in this country, Dylan, are not being educated enough about our nation's history?
Yeah, I saw the eagle. That was pretty amazing. Yeah, but I think, there's a lot of homes that could use some, reminders of why it's important and what it's all about, and not to take for granted what we have in this country, and our youth need to be aware of that. And yeah. I think my hope is that maybe this book can get into some of their hands and they can have an understanding of why it's important that we stand for the national anthem.
Yeah, it's interesting, Dylan, because during the divisional NFL game, several performances of the national anthem were not televised by the major networks, and they caught a lot of flack for that. I don't know if it was intentional or an advertiser took the place of it, but it seems it was a missed opportunity to have a moment of collective unity for our country. Did you feel the same way?
I did. Yeah, the national anthem, it's a time we all come together, and it's so important, and it's not a moment to think of ourselves or to, put politics into it. But it's a moment of unity and a really important time to honor those who have fallen for our country, our freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, really quick before we let you go, Dylan, Liam, where can our viewers go to buy your book?
Yeah, so the book is available at www.patriotickidsbooks.com. And then you can also find me at Real Patriot Publishing on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
All right, fantastic. Thanks again for being with us. We will be right back with more Special Report.
Hello, this is Mike Huckabee. President Trump said he wants to take back the White House and teach our kids to love our country. That's why my team created the Kids Guide to President Trump. It'll teach your kids all about President Trump's accomplishments and his vision for America. And right now, I want to give it to you for free as part of this free gift bundle.
Order your free Kids Guide to President Trump, get a free bonus guide, and a free membership to AMAC featuring dozens of money-saving benefits at kidsneedtrump.com. That's kidsneedtrump.com.
I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name.
The crime of title theft. What is that?
What that means is that they're able to steal the title to your home. The thing about home title lock is that never has to happen. They notify you when there's any change to your title. Title fraud is real, it's scary, but now there's a way to protect yourself.
Give us a call or go to HometitleLock.com today.
What if you could tackle your dog's itching, paw licking, soft stools, and low energy with a simple 3-minute change to their diet? Millions of pet parents are raving about Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, the anti-kibble breakthrough that's helping dogs act like puppies again.
Such a huge difference in her health. More energy, more playful, no more pooping issues.
He's healthier, he looks better. This is my way more energetic dog.
I'm Dr. Marty. I've been a veterinarian for more than 50 years. The dangerous ingredients added to many pet foods could be impacting your dog's lifespan. That's why I formulated Nature's Blend.
Now you can feed your dog wholesome cuts of real meat, vegetables, and fruit with no artificial preservatives or fillers. Unlike fresh food, Nature's Blend is gently freeze-dried. This means extraordinary health benefits, but with zero prep, zero fridge, and zero mess.
I just feed her right out of the bag. She's obsessed with this food. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
And for a limited time, get up to 54% off with our special TV offer. Call or go to drmartypets.com/TV.
Increased tariffs on our trade partners, tax cuts and regulation changes. Learn why gold is a viable diversification tactic now more than ever. Birch Gold, the only gold company you should trust, is releasing their ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era, with foreword by Donald Trump Jr. To get your free copy, along with Birch Gold's free information kit on gold, text America to the number 989898. And here's the facts, folks. The national debt continues to increase. Interest payments on the national debt continue to increase. Gold is still your hedge against a weakened dollar. And Birch Gold is still the company you should trust to help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. So just text America to 989898 for your free copy of the ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era. There's no obligation, only information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, countless 5-star reviews, and thousands of happy customers, you too can trust Birch Gold. Once again, text America to the number 989898 today. And welcome back to Special Report. It has been an interesting week in the news, from Democrat Ayanna Pressley calling Elon Musk a godless, lawless billionaire. Let's take a look at that.
This is an unprecedented moment, a constitutional crisis, but we will match their energy. With unprecedented organizing, mobilizing, agitating, we will see you in the courts, in Congress, in the streets. Elon Musk is a Nazi nutball baby. A godless, lawless billionaire who no one elected. Elon, this is the American people. This is not your trashy Cybertruck that you can just dismantle, pick apart, and sell the pieces of.
Well, from that madness and drama to Elizabeth Warren losing it over RFK Jr. as Health and Human Services Secretary nominee. And to delve into these crazy stories, I want to welcome in our good friend, conservative Ant, Anthony Raimondi. Thanks for joining me, Ant.
Thanks for having me, guys. Exciting times.
Absolutely, and dramatic times too. Let's be honest. This is some drama, Anthony. Let's be real. Let's start off with Elizabeth. Yeah, exactly. We don't need any of this drama. Well, let's start out with Elizabeth Warren. She was losing her mind, just like Ayanna Pressley was, over RFK Jr.'s nomination to be Health and Human Services Secretary. Let's take a look at this clip.
Stated, this is not only about a private company that gets sued and has to pay out. Vaccine manufacturers often operate on very slim profit margins. If they get sued repeatedly and successfully, they simply move out of the vaccine space. We've already seen this happen with vaccines in the past. 20 years ago, we watched vaccines just move away if they did not have protection from these kinds of lawsuits. The consequence of Mr. Kennedy's ability to make those lawsuits easier is also the ability to shut down access and manufacturing for vaccines for every one of us. And I think that's...
Now, Anthony, I would hate to marginalize a Native American here on live television, but is she being a little bit overly dramatic?
A little bit over dramatic. I mean, she's losing her mind. I think they were holding her up as she was walking out, all frantic the other day. Look, we've already heard and know that she's probably received many kickbacks. okay? So they're running scared. They're like when you put that fire to a jar of ants and they're running around. That's no pun intended, but that's what they're doing. They're running around scared right now. And by the way, RFK is doing a great thing. He wants to make America healthy, and he's trying to use the European playbook here. I'm for RFK, and I think that they're just mad that their pockets are not going to be lined anymore.
Yeah, you're right. And I think RFK is doing the right thing. He's handled himself so well in this. But when is the last time, Anthony, we've heard making America healthy again? When have we talked about health? I think it's so amazing and so appropriate that we would be dealing with this health crisis that we have right now.
It really is. And look, if people really want to look at the science, usually what you do is process of elimination. You try things out, you test it. So if the vaccines worked, and now we have studies that show that some people it didn't work, some people it did work. There's all kinds of different studies that came out now. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with questioning these things? What's wrong with RFK wanting to question these things? Wouldn't the American people want the answers on that? I know I would.
Yeah, we all need them, to be honest with you. And I hope that there's some accountability when it comes to what happened with those vaccines. I think we need to look into that, and Big Pharma. And that's exactly what RFK wants to do. Well, and one of President Trump's executive orders signed this past Wednesday is titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports, and it was signed on National Girls and Women in Sports Day. This order also specified that the State Department is to push the International Olympic Committee to make the same change and make eligibility determined according to sex and not gender identity of testosterone reduction. Do you think that this was the right thing to do to protect women in sports?
100% bravo to Donald Trump. This is a win for women. Look at this iconic picture of all these young women, young females, young girls, and now they're going to be able to be safe. They don't have to worry about, parents don't have to worry about their kids having to shower with boys and men in locker rooms. I mean, this is really a huge thing. 100% I agree with Donald Trump on this.
Yeah, that video, I think, Anthony, will go down in the annals of history. It's just, when I saw it, we were actually taking it live on Special Report. I thought, that is the image right there. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. To see those young girls surrounded, or Trump surrounded by those girls, to know that they're not going to have to compete against a biological male, I think is something that's going to be talked about for many, many, many years, if not decades to come. Well, and I now want to go to the border. Since President Trump has been in office, the illegal border crossings have gone down tremendously. And patrol agents are certainly happy that President Trump is back in office. Let's take a look at this clip.
All we needed was a president that was going to empower us, a strong leader like President Trump, and then a secretary like Secretary Noem that knows exactly what we need to do to secure the border. We're seeing almost a 90% decrease in illegal entries since January the 21st. Not only that, but our criminal prosecutions of those we're apprehending is up almost 52%. You talked about, you led in with the Tren de Agua. Our U.S. Border Patrol BORTAC unit is out there with ICE making those arrests. And so, look, Border Patrol knows how to secure the border. All we needed was an administration that would let us enforce the law, and we're out there, and we are seeing phenomenal gains on the border.
Common sense, common sense, common sense. Anthony, why couldn't President Biden have done this very same thing 4 years ago? Do you think it was about trying to garner votes, even illegal ones?
100%. Look, this is exactly what the American people voted for. This is what I voted for. I mean, look, I feel so much safer already that Donald Trump has been in there for a month now? This is exactly what we voted for. And I think that people are going to see exactly how it's going to affect us in a good way. This is great. We have a tough border now. People are not going to mess around. It's going to deter people from coming here and trying to get free stuff.
Yeah, and something I hadn't thought about really till this week is you've got, him protecting women's sports, so we're protecting women in one way. And then if you reduce the illegal border crossings, Tren de Aragua, MS-13, now you're protecting women like Lake and Riley in a completely different way. It's a win-win for everybody. And I think that all these claims about misogyny, BS, look at what Trump is doing for women. And I think that's very, very important and should be looked at historically. Well, Anthony, President Trump recently also signed an executive order barring transgender people from military service. Are you in agreement with the president on this issue?
I am in agreement with this. Look, I was in agreement with this when he was the president in his first term. Transgenderism, and I'm going to get a lot of hate, and I always have, it's a mental health issue, okay? There's many things that the military won't let you in for. This is, and I've never served, but I do know a lot of our men and women in the military. It's a mental health issue. That's fine. You can have a mental health issue, but you need to have it handled and taken care of. I think this is great. I think Trump did yet another thing to not only keep women safe, but to keep America safe.
Yeah, Anthony, I want to just ask you on a human level, too, because you said you get a lot of hate for it. I mean, when you think of, okay, someone wants to serve our country, and why should we bar anyone that's willing to put their life on the line? But you're hitting on something different, which is the psychological issue. And it sounds like what you're saying is, if these people are not mentally stable and don't have a handle on things, even if they want to serve their country, they should not be permitted to, the same way someone that's mentally weak or physically weak could also not serve. Is that correct?
Correct. We need the strongest to protect this country. You look at places like Russia, these guys are they're deadlifting pickup trucks, okay? We need the strongest and sharpest people to protect this country. Not only that, taxpayers are paying for some of these medications that they need when they go in there. I don't want to pay for that. So you need to get yourself together, but it doesn't belong in the military. Sorry.
You hit that nail on the head, man. Thank you, Anthony. And this weekend, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles meet at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans to battle it out in Super Bowl 59. And the man we were just talking about, President Trump, will make history as the first sitting president to attend the Super Bowl. What are your thoughts on this, Anthony? Do you think he'll get a huge round of applause like he has at many other stadiums across the country?
I think he will get a huge round of applause. This is so awesome. And I believe that they interviewed Kelsey this week. Yes. And he said, hey, I'm totally cool with it. Any sitting president coming. That was very respectful of him. I love this. This is great. Kamala Harris was just at a game and nobody even knew she was there. She was walking through the stands and nobody even said anything. So he's going to get a standing ovation.
What did you think of the fact that Kelsey said this when he's got a girlfriend that has been such a vocal critic of President Trump? Were you surprised to hear Kelsey say this?
Yes and no. All these people have been paid to say a lot of stuff for Joe Biden, so I wouldn't be surprised if little Taylor Swift was as well. No, I think he's trying to he knows the climate of the country right now. He's doing what he's supposed to do. If all these guys stayed out of politics and just played football, we would be in a much better spot when it comes to the NFL. I really hope that more NFL players do this.
I hope they do too. And when we saw the Florida Panthers just at the White House, it was kind of nice to see everyone there, no one boycotting it, just celebrating the championship. And let's face it, I mean, Trump loves champions because he is a champion. He's a winner. He loves winners. He respects them. So I hope the same is true for the Super Bowl this Sunday. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for being on Special Report. We always love having you on.
Thanks.
And thank you to our viewers. And be sure to check out Special Report along with all of our Rav'S shows now on iHeart Podcast. And we want to hear from all of you on Getter. So if you haven't joined, go check out the app. And hey, if you're already there, reach out and let us know what you think of Special Report. We'll see you next week. Now stay tuned for War Room.
I'm an artist and I'm in my studio. I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor and I've got pain in my neck and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later and I've got much better range of motion. I'm able to carry these big canvases around. I'm just very, very grateful that I gave the product a try.
If pain is affecting your life, give Relief Factor a try. Call or go online. Get your 3-week quick start for only $19.95. Fight pain naturally